Hi, I'm Glenn with Z-Man, and we all know how cool ElaZtech is. And here are some of our favorite ways to take advantage of some of the very unique features of this material. This is the 4-inch Big TRD. And one of the things you can do with this to make it more buoyant and a little bit softer is stretch it out, roll it in your fingers, fatigue it a little bit, really kind of pull on it. And then what that does, you'll see when I'm done, so it's actually a little bit bigger bait than what it was before, but it's also a lot softer and a lot more buoyant. Now, a lot of people have talked about using super glue with ElaZtech to keep it on a jig head. Now, we've tried a lot of different types of super glues, and we've found that the Loctite control gel seems to work a lot better with our material than others do. I've got this little minnow right here. I'm going to rig this onto a trout eye jig head. Before I slide it up onto the keepers, what I want to do is I want to put a little drop of that Loctite right here, up right by the keeper. And once I have that on there, all I have to do now is simply pull this material up onto those keepers like that. And now that glue is going to hold that in place and it's not going to go anywhere. So now you've got a permanently rigged up swim bait on that trout eye. It's not going to slide down, it's not going to slide off, it's going to stay there until you break this thing off. Here's the pop shad. This is my favorite way to fish topwater, especially in cover, because I can rig it completely weedless. But if I'm fishing in open water, I want to rig it differently, because a fish in open water tends to run or slash at it, whereas a fish in cover tends to take it a little bit more deliberately. So if I want to get a higher hookup percentage in open water, what I'll do is I'll rig this same bait with a treble hook. And what I'll do is I use this hook, this EWG, as a threader. I'll pull this through, cut it off, and then I'll just tie my treble hook on where that was. And then once I have that tied on, I have 2 open points below this hook to make contact with the fish right away as soon as they try to grab it. So I'm going to be getting a lot of those wild slashing takes that I might have missed with it rigged up weedless. So it makes a big difference in your hookup percentage when you're fishing topwater. So now I've got that hook tied on, I pull it right up here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick this right here in the belly, and now I've got 2 exposed hook points right there. Here's another interesting tip using the TRD ticklers. Typically we would rig the ticklers like this. This one, they actually rig it backwards. So taking the tentacles first and rigging this on the jig head this way, and what I'll do is I'll pull this up onto the keeper. This is our OG. Then what they did is they took one of the tentacles here and they actually turned it into a makeshift weed guard by taking that and inserting the point of that right into that tentacle. And they have a little built-in weed guard on there. And the thing with ElaZtech is still soft enough that it's still going to come through that just fine. Now, even though we prefer the super glue method for holding one of these onto the keeper, if you don't have any super glue on you and you need one little trick to hold this on, here's a good one. What I'll do is I'll debar just this hook right here and an extra hook laying around. What I'll do is take this hook and use it to grab some of this material, and I'm going to grab and actually put a loop of ElaZtech over this hook eye, and that'll kind of hold it in place. So I'll grab the material right here and then I will drag it up over the top of this hook eye. And look at that. So now I've got a bunch of material over the hook eye right there, and that locks that in place. That cannot slide off of that head no matter what. Another really neat feature about ElaZtech is it will absorb anything that's oil-based. So when you want to scent your baits, we usually recommend ProCure, because ProCure is all natural bait oils. So when I rig this guy onto, see, I'm going to fish this on the Power Finesse Shrooms. After I get it rigged up, now I can add a little bit of ProCure to this bait, and then that's going to soak right in, and it's going to end up giving me a really nice, well-scented bait. You can do this with any ElaZtech product. It'll all absorb scent just like that. Now, one of the ways that you can dress up a Ned rig, especially in dirty water or when you need to add a little bit of more flash and action to it, is you can rig the TRD spins on the back of this. I have this one on the back of the regular TRD. But one of the other things you can do with these TRD spins is you can use what we call a little bit of chin music on your swim bait. So I can turn any swim bait into an underspin, and what I can do is I can actually insert this in here and it'll actually turn it into an underspin. So as you can see, there's a lot of different ways that you can modify ElaZtech or come up with little creative hacks, and you can use your imagination for everything. And you know, the durability of this stuff is really what lends itself to having so many different ways you can rig it. God, this is bugging me. Hang on a second, I got something in my teeth right here. Let me get that out of there. If you need more clever ideas on how to use ElaZtech, go to zmanfishing.com.